Hey, what's up, AJT Jungle? We're going to recap our trades from today. But the reason why I have Tesla's chart from yesterday up because today was just a continuation of the earnings trade from yesterday. So if you want to see the recap of the earnings trade and then what we got off of it, um, the recap is on YouTube as well. The one I did last night, so I cover everything on it. But what we want to focus on today is where I bought the bounce. I saw 720. I saw a lot of support there holding up, reading the price action. And I kind of pointed it out while we were trading it, what we were looking at. So I got in. It did push up, but we did get a candle that kind of sold off. We got rejected pretty hard here at 726, which was, a little bit disturbing considering I didn't see anything there, and I thought we took it out on this push up, but it did get aggressively bought back up, and we made a move up. We did get another pullback, but we never took out the low. And you can see it just kind of worked its way up. And I did, get to take some off before the market shut down. I think it was around 7:33. And we left about 150 shares on. Yeah, it was 150 shares on overnight. And my average at this point was, no, it was actually 722 and some change. I thought it was 726, but it was actually, oh yeah, it was because I added. That's why it was 726 and some change, because this was actually, whatever the case was, it was 726. So I held it. I took profit here and then held about 150 shares overnight. And that gets us to today. But you'll see on the recap, I did post it. So if my memory wasn't good, it's posted and documented it on YouTube. So looking at today, if I had any idea that this thing would gap up the way it did and run the 775, I would have gotten up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But I was sound asleep. But by the time I got up around 6, between 6 and 6:30, when I cut the computer on, I can't remember what time, I saw this and I'm like, oh yeah. Now, immediately I was thinking, take half off. And I was like, nah, this thing looks like we're going to continue to push. I looked, when we get back to 775, I'll take some. But obviously it didn't. Coming in at 7 o'clock, you had a round of profit takers. Then coming in a little after 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, you had profit takers. So we knew anytime you get a stock to gap up, you don't want to go long out of the gate. You got to waiting for profit taking. Now, every now and then, maybe 10, 15% of the time, it can just keep going. But most of the time, you're going to see profit taking. But I wasn't so concerned about it because remember, I had that 726 average coming into today. So I was able to give it enough room to kind of retest and back test. And then we caught the buyers again. So all of the profit taking kind of died out. We started getting bought. I'm assuming off of this 100 period moving average here. But that's around where we were getting bought up. Now, one thing, if you've done this over different time frames, you know that on the 2 minute, there's going to be a moving average that lines up with this. On a 1 minute, there'll be another moving average. If you're on a 15 or a 60 minute, there'll be something lined up with this. So it's not just what you're seeing on the 5 minute chart. It lines up, across the board here. So once we broke the 5 minute opening range, I added. So I added to the position I had overnight. Yes, it brought my average up, but I was in more shares, and I started taking profit along the way. My goal was to get back and retest the pre-market high. Normally I don't buy inside the pre-market high, but you're talking about a $15 window on a stock that's on earnings, that has a ton of volatility. So we use what we're seeing on the chart. We're using the price action to help us manage our trade plans. And that's what we were seeing. Again, I talked to you about that this morning while we were trading this. And so you see, we started taking profit. That was a final. It pulled back. I added on this pop and took profit up here at 780. And I'm still waiting for it to continue to move up. So what we were looking at this morning, we were looking at, let's see. This is what we were looking at to guide our goals. This is pure price action here. So we were looking at 780, looking at all the open interest we had at the time and then the volume. So we've closed a lot of those contracts already, but it's still got a ton of open interest here at 780. And then we were looking at 800. I mean, look at the 800 calls. These are weeklies. These expire tomorrow. Okay? So these are weeklies. And I was thinking maybe we could get the 800 today if this thing kept going. But it kind of got rejected at 780. But we may see it tomorrow. Or if a miracle happens and we get through 780, we might see it today. Or maybe sometime in aftermarket. You never know. But we're using this option chain because this is pure price action. Or I'm sorry. It's it gives us a guide to where the price action could be heading. Let me clarify that. So we look at the price action to give us indicators that we're continuing to reach for these goals is basically what we're looking for. All right, so that's why 780 was a target, and now I've got some on waiting for, see if we get the 800. The upper linear regression channel, if you look kind of right here on the right bottom, you see right here the 60-minute chart. The linear regression channel's got it held up. The volatility is pretty much run out of it. And you can see that's it. Now if it breaks through this, let's say 3 o'clock power hour, we get some happy buyers coming in. Hey, we can make this. It can happen. You got to know what's possible. Wait for the chart to confirm to you that that's what's going on. For me, we're going to have to take out 780, and then I can look for it to start making this move toward 800. But that's what we're looking for later on. But that's where we are today. that's our recap from today. We are looking for on earnings. We're looking at SQ, which sometimes can get a little wild. Now, a lot of times it's not. It's like a little lamb, but we're going to be looking at it. And also, we'll be looking at uh, we're looking at Carvana. Now, you guys wanted me to tell my Carvana story. 2 years ago when my son totaled my car, I was looking for another one. I hated convertibles growing up. I thought they were crap. I thought they would leak like a sieve. I thought they were noisy. But I ended up liking it, and I wanted to find another one. So I found one, a really nice one on Carvana that only had a couple thousand miles on it. But I've never bought a car on the internet without looking at it first, without getting in it, driving it, So I was a little nervous. I was a little skeptical that, hey, I sent my money, bought this car. Is it going to show up? And sure enough, I'm sitting right where I'm sitting now. Right where I'm sitting now. I show up, I look out the window, and there it is. I'm like, well, I'll be damned. There's the car. And it was just as advertised. It was just as simple. I got it, drove it, came back, signed the paper. It was mine. And the guy drove off. It was just that simple. Didn't go in the dealership. Didn't have to sit there for 2-3 hours not haggling with these clowns. We just got it. So that's my Carvana story. And also, when they were having trouble and they were talking about going bankrupt, they have one of these car vending machines in Greensboro. We go to Greensboro a lot because that's where my in-laws live. And there's one on I-40. And I would drive by it, and there'd be like 1 or 2 cars in it. From going to be full all the time, there was only a handful of cars in it. Now it's full. But then that's when we were coming out of COVID, and there was a big shortage in used cars and all of this. But now, I think Carvana's on its way. I think that's going to be the new way of buying cars now. With the, I think they're going to make it. The business model is good. I think they'll make it, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm still it's still a long-term thing in my retirement account. Yeah, so that's why I'm hoping Carvana just keeps going. Hope it keeps going. All right, but that's it for today. We'll come back for earnings and see if we're gonna have anything there. So until then, you guys take a break, man. Take a break. Let your brain rest. That's how I'm able to come in and kind of execute aftermarket. You see, when I don't get a time to rest and my brain doesn't get a time, it's just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. When my brain is not rested, and trading could go anywhere. for me. But I take my breaks, clear my brain so I can come back and execute. So that's my advice to you guys. So I will see you in a few. I'm gonna send you guys the links and the PDFs for the presentations for the last 2 days. So we'll be caught up with that and ready for next week.